the Chi-Town experience on the flight. Let me go tune in to Keek on the mic. He gon' make sure we get our news and highlights. When you get on YouTube, you better hit the like.
The Bears versus Packers rivalry just reached a whole different level. Hey, what's going on, Bears fans? Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Keek on the Mic, the podcast all about the Chicago Bears. As always, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. First and foremost, Bears fans, I hope you guys had a very good Wednesday. I know that I did. I just want to come on here really quick to give you guys a pretty funny update in regard to Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears. As we all know, the Chicago Bears had that very thrilling victory over the Green Bay Packers to end the season off a Caleb Williams game-winning drive that led to a Cairo Santos game-winning field goal. And Caleb Williams, not only at the end of last season, but all offseason long, has been, basically has a lot of aura about it, basically been bragging about it, just to get under Green Bay Packers fans and just to stem that rivalry a little bit more by just saying, hey, I'm undefeated in Lambeau Field. And Caleb Williams is speaking nothing but facts. He is truly undefeated, 1-0 at Lambeau Field. And obviously that is stirring things up with a couple of the Green Bay Packers players, because Caleb Williams basically says it any chance that he gets. And I absolutely love it. That's what you do as a competitor. That's what you do when you're going against your rival. Of course, the Green Bay Packers have dominated the Chicago Bears for years and years and years. That was literally the Chicago Bears' first win over the Green Bay Packers since 2018. So it felt good to win that game at Lambeau Field. But obviously, it's stirring up the rivalry a little bit more, especially towards the Green Bay Packers players. Left tackle Rasheed Walker was quick to downplay the idea, of course, that Caleb Williams is undefeated at Lambeau Field, even though it is true. He went on NFL Network and basically said that win that the Chicago Bears had over the Green Bay Packers, which, let me remind you, was the first since 2018, was actually a fluke. Check this out, Bears fans.
At the end of last season, the Bears won in Lambeau, and I don't know if it's gotten back to you, but Caleb Williams, their young quarterback, has said a few times this offseason that he is undefeated in Lambeau Field, and he's pretty pleased with that. What's it like to hear that, and what do you guys do about it?
Hey, man, he got lucky. But
what do you mean?
He got lucky. You know what I'm saying? Make the playoff.
Tell us more, Rasheed.
He doesn't want to. He said he got lucky.
Look.
Hey, he's saying a lot without saying nothing.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? That's all I got to say. You know what I'm saying? They got lucky, make the playoffs, and we're going to see him again this year, and we're going to remember he said that.
So, Bears fans, I just found it really funny because I feel like we're living rent-free, not only in the Green Bay Packers' mind, but obviously the Green Bay Packers fans' mind as well. And obviously you heard what Rasheed Walker had to say. He said that the Chicago Bears got lucky and that we will remember that he said that. And once again, Rasheed Walker has been part of the Green Bay Packers, I believe, for a couple of years now. And all he is used to is that the Green Bay Packers absolutely dominating the Chicago Bears. But for the first time in a long time, that was not the case this year for the Green Bay Packers. In my personal opinion, the Green Bay Packers were a blocked field goal away from being swept by our Chicago Bears. So it seems that, in my perspective, that the tide is starting to turn in this rivalry between the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears. So he just needs to get used to the fact that Caleb Williams will probably now be the new owner of the Green Bay Packers. I know I may be getting carried a little bit away here, but at the same time, Caleb Williams is speaking nothing but the truth. He is currently undefeated against the Green Bay Packers, 1-0. I'm expecting a lot more wins against the Packers with Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson calling the shots here in Chicago, because that's ultimately been the biggest issue in this rivalry against the Green Bay Packers. They've always had better quarterback play, and they've always had a better coaching staff. And it seems that for the first time in a long time, it's finally either an even playing field, or that we may actually have a better quarterback in Caleb Williams over Jordan Love. and potentially a better head coach in Ben Johnson than Matt LaFleur. And that could also be a arguable, debatable statement. But for the first time ever, I think it's going to be one of those things that the Chicago Bears can either split with the Green Bay Packers year in and year out, or maybe even potentially sweep the Green Bay Packers as soon as this year. But overall, I absolutely love that Caleb Williams is stirring the pot. Obviously Jaquan Brisker fired back at Rasheed Walker as well. But just once again, these are going to be two games that are going to always be competitive, always have fiery players on both sides of the football. But obviously these are games that the Chicago Bears are ready to come out and win, because they feel that last year they could have easily swept the Green Bay Packers if it wasn't for that blocked field goal. So go ahead and comment down below how you feel about Rasheed Walker's comments in regard to Caleb Williams saying he's undefeated at Lambeau Field. And do you guys personally think that the Chicago Bears may have a chance to actually sweep the Green Bay Packers this season? Let me know down below in the comment section. But Bears fans, before I let you guys go on today's episode of Keek on the Mic, I also wanted to share how Ryan Poles is really fleecing in terms of signing his players to contracts. As you guys remember, we extended Jaylen Johnson, our cornerback one, our leader of to our defense last offseason, I believe, and we signed him to a 4-year, $76 million extension that is worth around $19.1 million per season. And that was a big time contract, right? Jaylen Johnson was happy with the contract. The Chicago Bears were happy with the contract. And of course, Jaylen Johnson is cornerback one. He, to me, is one of the best cornerbacks in the National Football League. But when you look at the highest paid cornerbacks per year via Spot Track, and this is just based off what we just seen Sauce Gardner of the New York Jets just received. Obviously, he signed a 4-year extension, now making $30.1 million per year. I'm going to actually go ahead and put up the highest paid cornerbacks per year chart via Spot Track. And I just want you guys to look at this list really quick and just look at the bargain that Ryan Poles and the Chicago Bears are getting with the Jaylen Johnson contract. And to me, arguably, Jaylen Johnson is better than a lot of these guys on this list. Of course, you have Sauce Gardner making 30.1. You have Derek Stingley making 30. J.C. Horn making 25. Jalen Ramsey making 24.1. Patrick Surtain, which to me is probably the only player that is better than Jaylen Johnson on this list, making 24. Terrell, 20.25. Denzel Ward, 20.1. Lattimore, 19.52. Marlon Humphrey, 19.5. And Trayvon Diggs is making 19.4. And then Jaylen Johnson is making $19.1 million per year. And once again, I think he is the second best cornerback in the National Football League, arguably, definitely top 5 in the National Football League. So I want to give Ryan Poles and the Chicago Bears a whole lot of credit for locking down, to me, one of the best players, defensive players in the National Football League, definitely one of the best cornerbacks in the National Football League, that is Jaylen Johnson. Just want to show you guys this chart really quick. And just once again, give Ryan Poles and the Chicago Bears a whole lot of kudos for locking down that contract with Jaylen Johnson, and now it being a huge bargain for the Chicago Bears. But other than that, Bears fans, make sure you guys continue to hit that subscribe button and the notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Make sure you follow me on all my social media platforms, and make sure you share this episode of Keek on the Mic with every single Bears that you know. But other than that, back for an all-new Bears podcast right here on Keek on the Mic. Thanks, guys, and as always, bear down.
You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't Keek on the Mic. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't Keek on the Mic. You can go and subscribe, cause I be on it right. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't Keek on the Mic.